There are plenty of project management options here in 2025, but if you're looking for something super simple to get started, I would highly recommend you check out Notion. Notion is great because not only is it super simple to get started, it's also versatile enough to grow with you as your need changes. In this video, I'll be going over a quick demonstration of how I would set up Notion for a simple project management view. Let's get started. We'll want to start with the tasks database. This task database is going to contain all the individual units of work that we're going to be working on. So let's do that. We're going to click Add New, and we want to create an empty database. And we're going to call this Tasks and give it an icon. I think a hammer one would be quite appropriate. And the initial view for a database is quite bare bones. So what we'll want to do is we're going to create several properties to fit some of the data that we're going to be wanting. So the very first thing you're going to want is the status. And Notion provides a very nice status that has some useful defaults, and they have some automations around this status property as well. So you're going to want to select status over something else like a regular select. So let's click on the status and let's check out what kind of options it has. And you'll see that under the to-dos and in progress and complete, we got some default ones. I do like to rename the not started to backlog because I am a programmer and we seem to call all the tasks as backlog. But I also do like to prefer having a today option as well, or something kind of more short term. So I move my tasks from backlog into today, and then all of the stuff that's in today I work on. And also in progress, I like to add something called in review. So when I'm programming, I like to program it and then have like a review step, and I generally color this purple. And finally, in the complete section, I like to have an archive option as well, and that just helps me clean out some of the short-term completed done tasks versus some of the stuff that I've done a while ago. And that's just status. The next one that we're going to add is a due date. And you'll find that Notion has some of these suggestions that you can use, and they're quite handy. You can use the suggestions here, or you can just select the ones down below. It's going to be identical as long as the icons match up here. And I am going to call this due date. And due dates are handy because you can just assign a date that they're due, and they will show up in the calendar view. And we will go over different types of views further down the video. In addition to due date, we'll also want an assignee. So the person who's going to be working on this ticket, and we can call that person or assignee. And with assignee, when you click on it, it will show you a list of people that are assigned to your workspace. And so I can assign myself that task, and let's just give this task a name as well, task number 1. And if you wanted to, you can also add a priority level, and let's just use the suggestion here. And to create options, it's super simple. You just type in whatever you want, and you can do high. If you want to use a medium priority level, that's fine too, and low. And every time you add a new option, it gets stored as a previous option for you to select again. And you also have the option to color code them to whatever you prefer. Green for low. And that's the tasks view. And you can add multiple tasks. Task number 2. You can also duplicate them by clicking on this button here and then clicking duplicate. Next up, we're going to want to create a projects view for which these tasks belong into. So the process for that is going to be quite similar. We're going to create an empty database. We're going to call it projects. Do the same thing, provide an icon as well. Do a target here. And with the projects view, we're going to create let's start with the status. So the default ones should be just fine. And let's create a sample project. Let's call it create a new app. And we're going to put that in progress. And what we want to do is create a relationship between projects and tasks so that we can say a task belongs to a project. And the way that we do that is we create a property called relation. And it's a very powerful tool that is able to link multiple data sources together. So this project's database is going to link back to tasks. And in this relation option here, you're definitely going to want to click two-way relation, because this way you can say that a task belongs to a project and that a project has tasks associated with it. And then click on add relation here. And in this view, you can select the tasks that you have created in that other page. And when we go back to that task view, you'll see that there is a new column here that depicts which project this task belongs to. And so this is a really powerful way to group your task into individual projects. And this is the bare bone minimum requirement I would say to have for any small company or individual developer who has multiple projects that they have going on. Now that we have projects and tasks, this is where the fun really begins. Notion has a really nifty feature called views. And the first thing you'll realize that this list view is probably not the ideal view for listing your projects. For some people, that might be the case, but for me, I prefer to use a Kanban view. And the way that we create the Kanban view here is to go to the views here. So click the plus icon here, and then click on board. And I'm going to call this Kanban. Save that. And you'll notice that immediately it has been recreated into this Kanban process view. So the idea here, if you're not familiar with the Kanban, is that tickets, as they go through their life cycle, they start from planning phase, and then you can click and drag into the in progress phase and into the review phase. And eventually when this is completed and all done with, you can move it into the done view here. So it's a really nice way to visualize which part in the life cycle of a ticket your tasks are in. And I really like this view. And where projects view come in handy is, let's first populate some more projects here. Project 2 and project number 3. And if we go back in here, let's create a few more tasks. Task for project 2. And task for project 3. And we're going to assign these projects to their respective, these tasks to their respective projects. And there we go. Now we have a few more tasks. And when we go inside of the Kanban view, what I like to do is create a dashboard. So I can create, say, my tasks. And these are all tasks that belong to me. And what I can do is create a filter. Is first set the assignee to myself. And here you can choose either this me option here or to a specific person in your organization. But currently there's only me, so it doesn't really matter which one I choose. But I can first filter it to just the tasks that are assigned to me. And you'll notice that it's been filtered down to a smaller subset. And that's because not all of these tickets have an assignee set to myself. So I'm just going to make sure that all of these have an assignee. Just click on the checkboxes on the left-hand side and click assignee, and then you can just edit multiple rows at the same time with that view. And back in my Kanban view, I'm going to add another filter here for projects. So say that I'm currently only working on just that new app. I want to select that app, and it will only show me the tickets or tasks that belong to that project. And so this, to me, is a really powerful way to say, hey, if I'm going to work on this one project, I only want to see the tickets that belong to that project. Or if you're somebody who works on maybe 2 projects at the same time, you also have that flexibility to select multiple projects in here. Or if you just disregard all of them and cancel your filter, it's just going to show you all the projects that you currently have in the backlog. Now that's just a board view in Notion. There is another view called calendar. And you can see that there are several different views that Notion offers, and they're all really powerful. So I highly recommend you check out. But one of these guys is a calendar view. And the calendar view I really like because you can visualize where your tickets are due. So if you're somebody, or if you're in a team that likes to have due dates, which I highly recommend that you do anyway, I'm just going to give this tickets a due date just so that they show up on the calendar. And when you go back to the calendar view, you'll see that the tickets are now nicely visible in the calendar view here. So as you can see, with project databases, task views, that Notion is a very powerful tool already. Now we're going to go one step further and we're going to work with templates. Now templates are really handy because when you have a task, you'll generally want to provide some extra detail about what your task is about. And you can do that by just providing some extra details in that task page, but it's not really nicely formatted. It doesn't give you more context. Maybe you want to provide a nice little icon that says, smiley face for your ticket. But you will have to do this for every single task that you create, unless you use the templates feature here. So to create a template, we're going to use this blue button on the top right, use the drop down option here and create new templates. And Notion really tells you that you're creating a template with this nice little banner here. But let's just call this task template. And whatever data you assign into these properties or into the page, it's going to be replicated when you create that task. So for example, I want this task template to always assign the assignee to the person who duplicated that page. And this is handy for if you have multiple people on your team and you want that ticket to be assigned to that person who has created. That's going to be really handy. So I'm going to be using that. Say that the default priority level should be medium and that we are currently working with just the new app project. So we want that the ticket to be auto-assigned to the projects. And down here, we want to use Markdown to create task description. And the user can fill extra information about your ticket down below. And also maybe any task assets, drag, drop, any images or additional files related to this ticket. And yeah, so it gives you a little framework to work with. And I'm going to save this with Control S and then exit out of here. And we want to make sure that this new task template, oh, I forgot to add that that little icon here, and I can definitely do that. And let's use the same, or let's use the check mark. Round check mark. Good. And we're going to go back in here and we're going to edit that template and make sure that it is set as default. And we want to set it default for all the views and tasks for now. Again, highly customizable if you need to, but that's all we need. And so what happens now is whenever I create a new page, it's going to come with all those defaults that we set out of the box. So this task template has assignee set to me, priority level already set, and the project set to create a new app. So super handy way to bootstrap your new tasks in the same format that you like. So make sure to use your templates, and you can also set multiple templates for different occasions. And that's handy for having different views. And if you have a pre-existing task that you want to migrate over, you can make sure that you have an empty page down here, and then you can select that task template that we have created earlier. That way we can make sure that all the tasks that we have created so far are nicely formatted and consistent. And if your task already has information in here, all you have to do is just cut it, and it should show up again. There we go. Task template, and that information that I cut, I can put back into here. So yeah, that's Notion templates. They're very powerful, very good way to personalize the tasks that you have created and to easily pre-fill a lot of these information that you're going to be doing a lot. All right, so that's my simple overview as how I would set up a very simple projects and tasks database view in Notion. Obviously, my setup has a little bit more built into it now that I've been using Notion for more than 5 years, and there are more advanced tips and tricks. If you are interested in those tips and tricks, do let me know down in the comments below, and maybe I'll consider creating a video for it. There are, just as a quick preview, Notion has automations that you can use if you are on the paid plan, and there are way more things that you can personalize within these table views that make it a lot more powerful. In addition, if you're a software developer, Notion has GitHub integration that I am currently using all the time to help me manage my GitHub pull requests. So yeah, if this is something that you're interested in, please do let me know. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It does really help me out a lot. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.